Hi friends, welcome back to Bible Life Hacks. Today let's talk about staying calm in a busy world. Does it ever feel like life is moving a mile a minute? Work, family, social media, deadlines, it's overwhelming. But you're not alone in feeling this way. In fact, there's an incredible story in the Bible about someone who faced chaos head-on and still found peace. The story of Jesus calming the storm, a timeless lesson in trusting God, even when life feels like a storm. It was a long day. Jesus had been teaching large crowds by the Sea of Galilee. People were hungry, not just for food, but for hope, healing, and truth. By evening, Jesus was physically exhausted. He told his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." And so they all got into a boat. Imagine the scene. The sun is setting, the water is calm, and the disciples, many of whom were experienced fishermen, are steering the boat with confidence. Jesus, tired from the day, falls asleep on a cushion in the back of the boat. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a violent storm rolls in. The waves crash against the boat, the wind roars, and water starts filling up the boat. It's total chaos. Now think about the disciples. These were men who had spent their lives on the sea, but even they were terrified. They're shouting, trying to keep the boat from capsizing, doing everything they can to stay afloat. And where's Jesus? He's still asleep. Can you believe that? The disciples rush to him, shaking him awake, and yell, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Pause here for a moment. Does that sound familiar? When life gets overwhelming, how often do you feel like God is silent or far away? Jesus wakes up, stands up, and get this, he speaks to the wind and the waves. He says, "Quiet, be still." And just like that, the storm stops. The wind dies down, the waves become calm, and the sea looks like glass again. Then Jesus turns to his disciples and asks, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Can you imagine the disciples' faces? They're in awe, whispering to each other, "Who is this?" Even the wind and the waves obey him. This story is so much more than a miracle. It's a reminder for us today. Life can feel like that stormy sea, chaotic, unpredictable, and scary. But here's the truth. Jesus is in the boat with us. Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 to 7 tells us, "Don't be pulled in different directions or worried about a thing. Be saturated in prayer throughout each day, offering your faith-filled requests before God with overflowing gratitude. Tell him every detail of your life. Then God's wonderful peace that transcends human understanding will guard your heart and mind through Jesus Christ." So, when life feels overwhelming, do this 5 things. Trust that God is with you. He may not always calm the storm right away, but he promises to give us peace in the middle of it. 1. Pray about everything. When life feels chaotic, pause and pray. Tell God what's on your mind, your fears, worries, and stresses. Prayer shifts your focus from the problem to God's power. Just like the disciples turned to Jesus in the storm, you can turn to him in your busy life. Instead of stressing about an upcoming deadline, take a moment to pray, asking God for wisdom and peace. 2. Trust that God is in control. Life can feel overwhelming, but remember that God is always in charge, just like Jesus was in control of the storm. Even when you don't see immediate solutions, trust that he's working everything for your good. When unexpected bills pile up, remind yourself that God has provided for you in the past and will do so again. 3. Practice gratitude. Being thankful changes your mindset. When you focus on what you have rather than what's going wrong, it helps you see God's blessings and feel calmer. Instead of stressing about your to-do list, thank God for giving you the strength to handle it and for the opportunities he's provided. 4. Focus on what you can control. The disciples couldn't control the storm, but they could turn to Jesus. Similarly, focus on things you can handle and trust God with the rest. Don't waste energy trying to control the uncontrollable. If traffic makes you late for work, focus on driving safely and using the time to pray or reflect rather than stressing over the delay. 5. Meditate on God's promises. Philippians 4:7 reminds us that God's peace will guard our hearts and minds when we trust Him. Spend time reading the Bible or memorizing verses that remind you of His love and faithfulness. When you're feeling anxious, repeat Philippians 4:6-7 or other calming verses like Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. These 5 keys, prayer, trust, gratitude, focusing on what you can control, and meditating on God's promises, can help you find peace in the middle of life's storms. Which one will you start practicing today? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to share this video with someone who might need this message. Let's calm the chaos together.